All right, what's up, guys? Happy what is today? Wednesday, August 28th. We have 8 days left to draft. It's really like eight and a half if you count today and Thursday morning, Thursday early afternoon, depending, I guess, where in the world you are, if you're on the East Coast or not. We got a few pieces of news from the last couple of days. Samaje Perine seems to be like the big one on Twitter today. We know that Pacheco's ADP has been rising, and I think it was with the idea that he was going to be the three down workhorse. Now, Jerick McKinnon, I don't have the stat pulled up. Off the top of my head, he had like 50 catches last year, which is a ton. Especially if it's just if Samaje Perine even gets half of that, it's taking away so many snaps from Pacheco. So pretty interested in scooping up a little bit of Pacheco past ADP, but even if it's past his current ADP, it's still ahead of where he was for a couple months while we were drafting BBM. So where's Pacheco here? I mean, he's still up almost two spots in the past week. He's up to 32. I mean, if I can start grabbing him at like 36, 37, I think I will. But it's tough because Travis Etienne's right there, and I do like Travis Etienne, even though I'm not drafting him that much. Rashi Rice is up to 41. He's up to like 36 on the other site, so this is actually a value. But again, I'm gonna really try not to draft him in BBM anymore. I'm only gonna do a few more. So my focus for today, let's enter a BBM, and then we'll go back to the ADPs if you want to draft along. BBM's at 92%. It's filling up at more than 1% today. Last year, I want to say BBM filled like an hour before the slate started, maybe even less. I don't think it's going to last that long this year. Be kind of surprised if it lasted through the weekend. I really wish they would drop another puppy. Pretty sure it would fill. They did a mini schnauzer 2 days ago. It's $3.20 max, and it filled in less than 24 hours. I only got 8 entries in. Figured I'd wake up and knock out the rest, but nope, it was done before I woke up. All right, waiting for four more in this BBM. Luke McCaffrey's up. This is the other one. Like, this might not seem significant, Noah Brown signing with the Commanders, but Chris and I have been talking about who's the wide receiver two on Washington. Diami Brown, it's probably not a great click in the last round. Luke McCaffrey, I think he had like a shoulder thing. I've been kind of fading him hard. But now with the arrival of Noah Brown, I have a ton of Noah Brown. I probably have more Noah Brown than anyone else who's drafting best ball this summer. Overall, I have 8%. I only have 3% on Underdog because it's only 18 rounds. But over on the other sites that are 20 rounds, I have double digit percents of Noah Brown. The idea being that he has three outs to really getting more playing time if any of the three main receivers miss a game. And this is an offense that we want exposure to. He's going undrafted. It's just, we never want this to happen. But if something happens to one of these receivers early in the season, Noah Brown could have had a much bigger role on Houston. Now, I'd prefer that for him to be the wide receiver three in Houston than be the wide receiver two in Washington. Rookie quarterback, mobile quarterback. We have Terry McLaurin on the other side, who I've still been pretty excited about. But Noah Brown, I mean, he seems like he could be that field stretcher. Just put him in the game and let him run that way and just toss him, just throw it up. He might make a play. I know back when he was on the Cowboys, he had a couple plays. Well, he had one play at least where he didn't catch a pass and he fumbled it. He like bobbled it, and the other team caught it and housed it for a pick six at the end of a game too. It might have been the playoffs. I don't know. I think it was 2 seasons ago, but either way, I'm going to be pretty interested in adding Noah Brown, even at the end of these 18 round drafts. His value, like his just because the chances that he was not a great pick on Houston is pretty high. But now the assumption is that he's going to be on the field. So it's good for him. And he's a player who's not drafted in a lot of BBM. So if you're looking for something like that, there's a couple other guys I'll point out that kind of just came on our radar this past week. Emmanuel Wilson is one of them. Cam Akers could be one. I've clicked him a few times. There was like, let's see if they show up on the list actually. Yeah, Diami Brown was up. I don't know if this is going to continue. I probably wouldn't touch him anymore. Bo Nix being up. I'm still surprised he's this low. We're pretty confident that he has the job for all 17 weeks, and it's not a Russell Wilson was awful, but I think this is a decent flyer. Vidal, I'm adding here and there. I'm not terribly interested though. Tank, I've been adding. Bucky Irving's like this is all zero RB guys now moving back up again. I don't know what happened because these guys were up and then they moved down. We didn't really get any news on any of these RBs. Drake May is up 7 spots. I'd expect that to continue climbing. If you want to reach for him at like pick 160, if you want Drake May and you're going to be disappointed by not getting him, just take him. It's fine. Juwan Johnson, I still think this is just one of the best tight end values. I've been clicking him and Tucker Kraft mostly in the last round. Khalil Herbert, probably my new favorite 0 RB guy. Sorry, Ty Chandler. Carson Steele. I'm not going to touch him, especially with Samaje Perine arriving. Rico Dowdle. So Dalvin Cook signed with the Cowboys, and I have a lot of Zeke. I don't love Zeke, but I do think that I don't think Rico Dowdle's good based on what we've seen from him so far. And we at least know that I don't know if the coaching staff loves Zeke. Jerry Jones loves Zeke, so Zeke's going to be on the field. Dalvin Cook coming, he wasn't really good at all he's on the Jets for like 6 weeks or something last season. There's a video of him throwing a medicine ball at a wall. He looked in shape, but we'll see. It's tough because he's a player who wasn't drafted in most of BBM. Let's say somehow he does win the starting role and efficiency. I mean, I'm drafting Ezekiel Elliott. I don't care about the efficiency. I just assume the running back on the Cowboys is going to be a valuable position. Just score touchdowns. Do what Tony Pollard couldn't, score within the 5 yard line. And I mean, Zeke's got to be the best guy for that over Dalvin, right? But maybe Zeke goes down and Dalvin is just better than Rico Dowdle. It's tough. I think I drafted Dalvin Cook once, 1,400 drafts in, so I don't know what that percent is. It's very low, but I'm not even going to end up at 1%. That would be like if I drafted him 15 times, I'm not going to draft Dalvin Cook 15 times in the next week. I have like 200 drafts to go. So I might, you never know. I'm sick of drafting Alexander Madison. Chris and I were talking about in the Discord. I think Madison scores points this year. How many? I don't know, but I'm not drafting Zamir White at all. Probably should hedge that with Dylan Labe a little bit, but Jerome Ford is the guy that I am very interested in drafting. We knew that Nick Chubb was going to basically miss the first 4 weeks. Who knows how long the ramp up is? And either way, this is the number 1 ranked offensive line in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. So we want to have interest in Jerome Ford. They cut Deontay Foreman, but I think there's an expectation that he's going to re-sign with the practice squad, and then eventually he's going to be the RB. He should be the RB2 on week 1. I'm pretty sure it was just to play around with roster cuts and take advantage of something there. Mentioned Cam Akers. Jordan Mason, I don't mind drafting now. His ADP is still really low, and it's such a valuable spot to be the backup there. What is happening here? 22 seconds on the clock. I was like, why is Romeo Dubes the first player on my list here? Nico Collins? Where's Nico Collins? He went 11th? It's a smart guy. I don't want Chris Olave. You can take Devontae Adams. Just in case you're new to the channel, I'm Chuck Silver, by the way, with Occupy Fantasy, part of our partnership with Underdog Fantasy. These are the playoff opponents, week 15, 16, 17. If it's highlighted in green, that means that they have a correlation with a skill position player. If it's highlighted in gold, once I get a quarterback, that means they have correlation with my quarterback. This is the number of game stacks this player has with the players on my team. I use it mostly as just a tiebreaker. And then this is the percent that I have overall on the slate. I am so upset that Kyron got drafted right there. I thought that he was going to last until 27. The punt returning comments yesterday weren't great, but I don't care at all. He returned 3 punts last year. Sean McVay saying that is a lot different than going into the future at the end of the season and seeing that he returned every punt for the Rams. And even if he does, I don't think we adjust that much with like the projected touches, the projected fantasy points with Kyron Williams. I'm still not drafting Blake Corum. I think he's way too expensive of a handcuff. Now, he will be very valuable if he becomes the man, but this was such a weird 4 picks right here. Means I have to draft Chris Olave. I guess we'll take Chris Olave at pick 27. I don't love him, but for a lot of this contest, he was going in the teens. This is probably a tough combo to get. If I can get this through, it should be pretty strong if Chris Olave is good at football, I guess. See you guys falling. Justin Fields, hilarious. I already have enough. Not really gonna add any more. The contest I have him the most in is weekly winners, which I think makes the most sense because if he just starts a couple games, that could be enough to cover all of the exposure. I mentioned I like Cam Akers. Makes sense. Pierce is falling. I don't like Cam Akers, but I'm okay picking him in the last round. Marshawn Lloyd on IR. I think we knew this for a few weeks, so I haven't been drafting him for a few weeks. So if I can get him at like pick 200, I still think he's fine. Emmanuel Wilson. So there was a comment in our Discord today about Josh Jacobs could become the workhorse over in Green Bay, like 3 down back. And he could. He's done it before. But looking at the coaching history in Green Bay, they've never done that. And so I think that as long as there's a second body available, and Emmanuel Wilson, he wasn't a slouch in preseason. He looked fine. As long as he's not awful, I still don't see Josh Jacobs becoming a workhorse. Maybe 70-30, but that would still be the most extreme backfield split for Green Bay. And as far as back as I looked, So I don't mind adding Marshawn Lloyd. It's kind of scary, though. I already have a bunch, so not too worried if he comes back from injury and is awesome or something. Mims and Pierce all full fades for me for the next week. Curtis Samuel, he fell to like 115, and I still didn't want to draft him. So I don't know what that means. Turf toe is not an injury that you really want to mess around with. Could linger all season, could not. But I liked Khalil Shakur already anyway. And so probably not taking him 20 past this new ADP is probably a mistake. But oh well. Cole Kmet finally falling. If he's going to split steps with Gerald Everett, makes sense. But I still like him for his big play ability. He can still do a lot with just a couple plays. So let's get back to the draft board and see what's going on here. Like this is what I expect to happen. Not necessarily 4 in a row, but just these running backs basically all going ahead of ADP over this next week. Especially 3 running backs out of the one hole. I'm curious to see how he rounds out this team. Brandon Ayuk at 34. I got Brandon Ayuk at pick like 42 the other day. It just seems so insane, right? Rashi Rice still on the board. We'll let some other poor sap draft him today. I mean, if he makes it to 46, I'm going to take him. He's not going to, though. Trey McBride, Sam Laporta. Where's Kelsey? Kelsey's still on the board. Tank Dell, still on the board. A couple picks past ADP. Want to get more CJ Stroud. It's like it's such a risk when you take these Houston guys, especially if I take 2, because I love taking Nico Collins around here. And by the time I get to, this 34, 35 range, a lot of the times the best 2 receivers available to me are Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell. And so I'm doubling them up. And I guess when I'm back here, I can get CJ Stroud. I like pick 58. It's his ADP now, 70. Oh, he's down to 70. So you probably got to, and he's very rarely coming back to 82. I mean, before this was his ADP, but double up, you got to draft CJ Stroud early here. Take a look at my exposures while we wait for my next pick. I still have not as many as I did, but still a lot of slow drafts with the 4-hour clock. A lot of weekly winners, some slow pups, Pomeranian, but super flex, and then got to mix in some NBA, get some early ADP value over there. I will put out an NBA video once the NFL season starts. I don't think anyone cares right now, and no one's drafting NBA except sharper NBA heads, I would imagine, where once the NFL season starts, people are missing drafting. Maybe they'll just venture into NBA, not really putting time to study the format. 284 drafts. This is all these tournaments here. My one lean is Rashi Rice, apparently. Gabe Davis, sure. My 4 favorite running backs, definitely. My 5th favorite running back, Raheem Mostert. Ezekiel Elliott. Still not sure how Amari Cooper's this high, but not upset about it. Keenan Allen, I got at pick 84 yesterday. What are we doing? Tank Dell, Jacoby, love him. Ayuk, Nico Collins, love him. So my focus over this next week is I'm just drafting my guys. Like I turned my combos off. I don't care anymore. I'm just going to make the best teams I can. And I did this at the end of last draft season, and it worked out awesome because I had 8 finals teams last year, and I think 4 or 5 of them were drafted after August 15. And then like two of them were drafted on the same day in September. And then two of them were big board from pre-draft. Michael Pittman at pick 46, dude. I hate it so much. I'm going to do it because he's falling so far, and I don't like George Pickens. I might be able to get McLaurin in the next round. Be kind of disappointed if I don't get McLaurin in the next round, but we'll take Pittman. Josh Jacobs is up to ADP 39 on the other site, so if you like Josh Jacobs, you should be drafting him on Underdog more. Is he going to catch that many passes? 2 a game, 3 a game, maybe. The touchdowns he scores in half PPR should make up for, like, pretty sure he shouldn't be 9 spots ahead on a PPR site than he is on a half PPR site. Like, this is closer to his true value, I think. As that guy took George Pickens. All right, nice. Looks like we're gonna get our guy. Got week 15 correlation with Chris Olave too. It's not a bad starting 5. It's not the 5 receivers I'd like to have starting from the 3 spot, but it's still much better than. I mean, I'll take my 4 or 5 receivers over. This is a pretty nice group. I don't like Garrett Wilson, but I like these 3. Yeah, I'll still take my group over. I'll probably take this guy's team though, which I maybe could have built. Like Debo's the difference there, right? But take Terry McLaurin. So we started 5 receivers. The team I had last season that performed the best, I started 7 straight receivers, didn't draft another one. 7 straight receivers. I had to have bricked on a couple of running backs here. Took Khalil Herbert in the 9th round. Probably Jared Goff next. No idea, no idea. Geno Smith, and then last round picks were Trey McBride and Kyron Williams, and that's the whole season right there. Was just those 2 last round picks in that one draft. Granted, I hit on these top 7 receivers I drafted, but you got to get a lot right, and you got to get lucky with the pods too. Josh Jacobs at 52 seems fine. If he's going past big 50, I'm pretty okay drafting him. I still don't like James Cook. I'm okay on Rashad White, I guess. Like Kenneth Walker a lot. If Anthony Richardson's there past ADP, we'll go for it. I've seen this so much. Lamar falling this deep. This is so bad. Maybe I should have just taken Lamar at 51. Neither of these guys are going to take Lamar, so this guy's going to get Lamar at 58 or 59. And Mark Andrews is falling pretty hard too. This is crazy. If one of these gets a Lamar Mark Andrews stack at this side of the board, it's a pretty strong team. Have to compete against them for advancing, but if they happen to advance, it's such a strong team in the playoffs. Just it's such easy leverage. I wonder if he's thinking about it. Should I take Lamar here? No, absolutely not. I would have just taken Jalen Hurts to pair with AJ Brown. Like this is some kind of leverage for the finals weeks, but to get through the regular season in this draft room, you already know a couple guys went 4 straight receivers early. I guess you knew that 3 straight receivers, but yeah, this guy took Lamar, easy pick. This is a good team. This guy has Clip Fan 634. I hope that's not the Clippers because can't be friends if so. This guy doubled up. Oh, he was praying to get Lamar to pair up with Zay Flowers. I would have been hyped, dude. That's one of those ones where it's like a dream if it happens. You can't be too disappointed if it doesn't, though, because it was already so unlikely to get back to you. This guy basically has to take Kyler right now. What's Kyler's ADP? 72. So, yeah, here's the thing. You could push Kyler to 84 here, but missing out on Kyler is such a disaster for this team. You're depending so much on Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride to perform, and if they perform at their ADPs, Kyler's smashing. You have to take Kyler here. You could say, I mean, none of these other guys are worth passing up on the quarterback for your 2 guys. So even though you're taking him a round ahead of ADP, you have to do it. Especially, it's bizarre to me that his ADP is over here at 72 because Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison are on this side of the board. So that might be something. Just reach for Kyler because a lot of people aren't doing it. Sure, some people are getting him at pick 84, but think about the 1v1, whoever you would have drafted, say Keenan Allen versus who you're getting at 84. Maybe Keenan Allen's a poor comparison because I think Keenan Allen's a really good pick, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. You're not giving up too much trading your fifth round pick for a seventh round pick or a sixth round pick. C.J. Stroud to pair with Nico Collins. Okay, I guess he's not too upset about missing. I mean, Lamar is absolutely higher ceiling than C.J. Stroud, but I see people talking about C.J. Stroud is going to break the passing yards record and the passing touchdowns record. Maybe it's a new age in the NFL, and he probably has the best receiving core of all time. I don't think there's ever been a better 1-2-3. Surprise! So I see this all over Twitter. This surprisingly hasn't happened to me too much. Where Bread T over here out of the 8-hole takes an unstacked Anthony Richardson when he already has Jalen Hurts. He has one receiver through 6 rounds. Bread T, off chance you happen to be watching this video, I'd probably try to target a few more wide receivers early because you're going to have a pretty tough time catching up now. And I would never do this double QB thing because just considering points added to your team, any one of these players would be more valuable for you. Oh no. Joe Mixon. I was going to go Montgomery. We could go Mixon. I guess the playoff correlation, I have more game stacks and I have half the ownership. All the signs point to just taking Mixon here. I said I was going to take my guys, but I don't mind taking Joe Mixon here, especially 7 picks past ADP. It's pretty good. And then if I can get my favorite running back in this next pick, I'll be pretty happy with that. And then my other, oh wait, I have a 5th favorite running back. Oh, never mind. It is Tony Pollard. He is on this list. Chris and I, well, Chris has been talking in Discord on the staff chat. I think he mentioned on the video too. He just wants to get as much Tony Pollard over the next week as he can, and I do too. I'm kind of disappointed I don't have more. I'm over like in my weekly winners. I have a ton, so it's like when I was drafting weekly winners, I'm drafting him for that ceiling case where he puts up just 20 plus. I mean, I wish I had 25% and all my other stuff, but it's okay. I might still be able to get there. I'm going to take him in literally every draft. Over on DK, he's going at ADP 89. I'm reaching for him every time, basically. To me now, this is why we save most of our higher, or just, I guess, most of our drafts for the end of the season, because we see, for the end of the draft season, because we see things more clearly. Tony Pollard is more valuable than these 3, and he's more valuable than these 3. I'd put him right behind James Conner. And here, I wish I had my percentages up for this one, so I know who I have, because I don't have a tiebreaker here. Like the tiebreaker is David Montgomery, less ownership, but I like James Conner more. I'm gonna go. Crap. Yeah, we'll go David Montgomery this time. That's fine. A little bit of ADP value, I guess, could be the tiebreaker. Yeah, James Conner. Notice Trey Benson falling pretty hard, so it's like, how do I not pick him when he's going at the same ADP as Ty Chandler and other guys? Because the thing is, I think Ty Chandler gets on the field without an injury to Aaron Jones. I don't know how much Trey Benson gets on the field without an injury to James Conner. Ladd McConkey. I drafted him once. Took Quentin Johnson. I'm still, the slow draft picks. I drafted Quentin Johnson like 3 times today. I was at 1% the first time I clicked him, so maybe now I'm at 1.5 on one of the other sites. It's disgusting. Something about the Seahawks running 100% of plays with 3 receivers on the field. Let me see if this is right. The Seahawks. I don't even know what to search to find this. Hold on. JSN might end up being a pretty big value. Seahawks, was it 3 wide receiver? I want to find this because whatever I saw, it made me. I saw it on my phone, or otherwise I would have kept the tab open. So their three wide receiver usage did go up after week 5 last year. So that's 71%. What's the guy's coach? Waldron. JSN could be a smash. I'm starting to get nervous about Tyler Lockett. I still click him in this range. Should be a good pick, but it is starting to make me nervous. Just, I don't know. He's getting older. The chance that JSN overtakes him this season. I mean, he's going ahead of Tyler Lockett, so that's what the market thinks is going to happen, obviously. Use of 3 wide receiver sets this preseason. Seahawks were 74%, so slightly higher than what they were after their bye week last year. Rams 99%. So does that mean that what's that rookie's name? I've drafted him so much I can't even remember. Does that mean Jordan Whittington is going to see a lot of work? I mean, if Demarcus Robinson is the wide receiver 3, I haven't really been drafting him that much. Not interested at all. We'll see what happens there. Whittington probably has the higher ceiling though, especially if something happens to Cup or Puka and they miss some games. Falcons 94% 3 wide receiver sets. The Falcons don't even have 3 wide receivers on the roster. Drake London, Darnell Mooney. Not interested. Bucks, Colts, Raiders were the next 3. Those guys are all above 80%. It's pretty good. And then Bengals 76%. I've been taking Burton over Yoshivas. Might be a mistake, but Burton was better than his draft capital would indicate. He fell because of disciplinary issues. I don't know if it was a joke or not that he fell asleep in a film session, was late to a bus or something. So the talent seems like it's there. It's just a matter of if he can mature enough to put it together off the field. But I guess I'm mixing both. I think so. Yeah, Burton goes before Yoshivas still. 5% Burton, 1% Yoshivas. I'll probably even this out a little bit because Yoshivas did show us something last season, but it's always like, well, new shiny toy is interesting. Oof, this is an awkward one. Jaden Daniels, I'm a little under. Oh no, Tony Pollard. Duh. Take Tony Pollard and then we can just take Tua. Yeah. If Jaden Daniels is still there, my next pick I'll go there. But thanks for pointing out Tony Pollard. I almost missed him. 5 receivers, 3 running backs. Feel pretty good with this build. I think what we want to do to round it out now, I'd like to get Tua. He goes pick 122. Yep, we're going to push it to our next one. And then I don't have a tight end yet, so I'm going to try. Well, if I get Jaden Daniels, I'll just do him and Tua, run 2 quarterbacks. Otherwise, what I want to do when I have a quarterback like Tua, who sure his single game upside is pretty good, but a lot of games he's going to put up less than 15 fantasy points probably. I mean, I don't have his game log in front of me, but you guys kind of get what I'm saying. And so I want to take a ceiling shot on someone because if I have like Tua and Matt Stafford as my quarterbacks, I'm gonna hit ceiling a couple times, but I just don't see it. It's kind of similar that super team I was talking about last year. My quarterbacks were Geno and Goff, and Geno put up 29 in week 15, which was awesome. But neither of those guys scored over 17 for the next 2 weeks, and it's like I still won a bunch. But imagine if they had just passed one more touchdown, it would have been like $15,000 more. And so those few points definitely matter in the finals. And so what I'm trying to say is you want to take a ceiling shot, I think, on an end of draft quarterback if you're taking 3. So I wouldn't want to take, for example, Tua, Kirk Cousins, and Matt Stafford in the save draft because I just don't think there's upside. I'm creating a pretty solid floor, but we're trying to beat 700,000 people. I don't care about floor. And I'm going to talk about this when we do the marathon, maybe tomorrow or Friday. I'll rip a marathon this week because BBM's going to fill. So I actually initially thought the marathon was going to overlay hard. I don't know if it's going to overlay that hard anymore because once BBM fills, that's the most logical place for people to go. Now, Underdog dropped contests I want to say the deepest contest they dropped last year was like 5 hours before lock, and it did not fill. Got a couple entries in there, but the point is they're still going to draft contests. They're still going to drop contests besides BBM once BBM fills. But anyways, back to the quarterback thing. Just take shots on deep guys. Like it's gross. It's gross for sure. Will Levis, Bo Nix, Drake May, Bryce Young. Maybe he sees an improvement. Daniel Jones, if he's not awful. Gardner Minshew was top of the model like half of the season last year. If you're not familiar with our Occupy model, it's our projection model. And Gardner Minshew was projected as like the best quarterback for how many weeks. And our model is not price sensitive. So consider that. It's price sensitive for NFL? I don't remember. And then since we're only going to have, well, on this team, I should have two quarterbacks. But if I had to go three quarterbacks, like if I missed out on Jaden Daniels, I'd probably try to only have two tight ends. Dallas Goddard falling is so interesting to me because I'm nervous about him too. What was the reason though? What happened to him? Bothered by oblique? I feel like there was something else about him that was making me nervous because I really liked him in this range, but Goddard. That might have just been it though. So oblique strain, but that shouldn't scare me off of him. I got him at pick 150 on DK the other day. Things that should never happen. Yeah, he hasn't been practicing. Didn't practice today. I'm not too worried about it. Just the choices after him. I mean, Freermuth looks like he might be in a split with Darnell Washington, not drafting him ever again. Ever again. Dalton Schultz. I like Dalton Schultz. I still like Cole Kmet. Wish he would fall a little bit harder. The amount that I've been dissing the Patriots on this stream to have 15% of Hunter Henry, should probably avoid drafting him. Noah Fant, I kind of bought into the hype, but I hate this now. You can get him 20 picks later on every other site. If you want him, just take your shares over there. Yeah. There's just so same idea with the quarterbacks. You can take two boring tight ends like Conklin and Cade Auden, kind of get a 10 fantasy point floor, hopefully. And then I think you have to take a shot on a third one, maybe a Ben Sinnott, a Jonnu Smith, a Kobe Parkinson, Theo Johnson, someone that could emerge and be like a Trey McBride was last year. I don't think that you should ever just take three boring tight ends. Even like take a shot on a Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz has more than a 10-point ceiling, right? Tucker Kraft. And so just you gotta find upside somewhere. Are any of these guys going to take Tua? This guy has two quarterbacks already. This guy does not have Jalen Waddle. Do I risk it though? Because I want Goddard. Do these guys have tight ends? All right, they should not be drafting Goddard. Yeah, we're gonna do this because I'm more disappointed if I miss out on Tua. I'm not super disappointed to miss out on anyone here. And now I'm done at quarterback, which is great. Damn, Jerome Ford's already off the board. That would have been a good week 18 correlation. I went and pick 110. Zach Moss still behind Chase Brown. I disagree. I'm on Team Zach Moss. Probably not going to draft Chubb anymore. I have enough, and I got him pretty deep. This is way too early for him to go, especially. We shouldn't be changing our view on him. We knew he was not going to be available for the beginning of the season, so that news should have been baked in. Similar to Jonathan Brooks. Where'd he go? 101? That's fine. Again, on the other sites, I've gotten Jonathan Brooks a pick like 150, and so I'm mostly just going to take my shares over there because his ADP is over around past this also. I wonder if this guy was going to go. Okay, he already had Christian Kirk. I wonder if he would have double tapped Gabe Davis. So I've done that a couple times with Trevor Lawrence. No, we got a team in the chat. What's up, Collusion? Let me make this pick first, and then pretty sure it's got to be Dallas Goddard. playoff correlation. I need a tight end. It's pretty. I mean, I think there's a decent teardrop here. It's fine. Half a round past ADP. It's not really significant. All right, let's see what we got here. Kyler Murray, Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Josh Jacobs, Pacheco, Zay Flowers in the flex. Got Pitts, Jets D. Well, if Jets is watching, I know he's going to like your team. Caleb, Khalil Herbert, Jalen Warren, Keon Coleman, Brock Bowers. Your starting lineup is so strong. Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith. It's 2 wide receivers. That's one change I made in my home league this year. I changed it to 3 wide receivers because, I think it's more fun, more decisions. Josh Jacobs and Pacheco. In a 12-team league, this is a really good team. It seems like it's hard to get. Especially, I don't know where Brock Bowers is going in these home leagues. I imagine he's not going as high as he is in best ball, though. And then I love Khalil Herbert on the bench. I'm pretty out on Keon Coleman, but if you're not depending on him to score points, then I think it's great. You don't have another. I'm sure you have like another wide receiver on the bench too. Hopefully, you don't need one though. And in like a pinch, you can flex Jalen Warren anyway. Or if Kyle Pitts and Brock Bowers are both good, I guess you could flex the tight end. It's not a big deal. Kyle Pitts goes off in week 1. Try and trade him for Trey McBride. Pair up with Kyler. One thing I do in these home leagues, I don't know how many bench spots you have. I feel like you have 1 or 2 more though. But if you did, just take shots on guys like Jalen Wright, maybe Malik Washington. Your bench is pretty okay though. I haven't done my home league draft. We're doing it on this Sunday. I'm in 1 home league every year. I win it every year. Last year, shout out to Kyron and Rashi Rice off the waiver. We're getting to the part of the draft where I like 0 players. I like Tyler Algier. I like Ty Chandler. Cool with Jalen Wright. I guess I'm cool with Chuba. So I guess I like a bunch of these players, but I'm out on a lot of them too. Like this range, I guess. After Jaleel McLaughlin, Cole Kmet's fine in a pinch. I don't want any of these guys. Bucky and Braylon, sure. Jahan Dotson. Yeah, I would probably Brock in round 10. Seems pretty good. Jahan Dotson. Yeah, I mean, your last pick in these home leagues doesn't matter as much because you can just pick someone off waivers anyway, right? Hopefully, you don't have to spend any fab to get someone like right now. But yeah, just drop Dotson and use that last bench spot for someone who maybe like a handcuff or something. Oh, another fun thing. I have 3 teams in the MLB Best Ball Finals right now. Not sure any of them are actually live because all my pitchers are hurt. My batters are not good. Matt McClain has not played a game all season. James Outman's not in the league. Yoshida. Yeah, these teams are disgusting. Went 0 for 6 to try to get back to the Dinger Finals. It's not great. I did make a little eliminator final, which is cool because I've like been following this team specifically for like 5 weeks, so I have a little bit more emotional attachment to it. But it's just drawing so dead, dude. I don't even think Jordan Montgomery starts anymore. Yeah. Pitchers are actually not good. Perez is out. The rest of this is actually okay though. We lost Christian Walker, but we got Josh Bell to kind of fill in for 8 points. That was a lucky trade. We're just drawing so dead, dude. It's so sad. Still a profitable MLB season for me. I'll take Jalen Wright. I already mentioned that we can do that here. So I don't think I need points in the beginning of the season. Otherwise, I'd go for Chuba. In a 12 man, there's no one that even looks okay. So you may wait for week one. Yeah, I've heard of a strat too. If it's free to just pick up guys, what's the Thursday night game? The Bills? Who are the Bills playing? Oh, I'm sorry. Baltimore KC. I don't know where I got Bills from. I'm trying to think who you could pick up. Maybe I can't imagine Samaj Perine is rosterable. Devontae Walker, maybe if he ends up being good, maybe you can use him as trade bait or something. Just I'm trying to think if there's a player on Baltimore KC you can pick up before the game, just in case maybe an injury happens or one of the young players gets more playing time than expected, something like that. And then you can just drop them after the game if nothing happens, and it's like you didn't miss out on anything anyway. The Friday game with Green Bay and Philadelphia is in Brazil. That's kind of weird. I mean, if you want to do that there too. Well, I guess you have Dotson already. So you could sit through that game. If he gets like 7 targets or something, you might want to keep him. Again, I can't imagine ever wanting to start him, maybe, if you lose Devonta Smith, but even then. We'll go Jaleel McLaughlin. Yeah. So started 5 receivers, haven't touched one since. This is looking like it's going to end up. Well, I guess it depends on who my next tight end is. Might do 3 tight ends. I'm going to grab one more running back. And then I guess depending how deep of shots I take on receivers, I might stop at 7. Do I have any week 17? I have 1 week 17 stack, Devontae and Chris Olave. Let's see who else I can add. Is Tyler Algier gone? Yeah, we're not going to get that Atlanta correlation. Probably not getting Cleveland. We're not getting SF, so quarterback correlation's done. It's unfortunate. It's something I want to focus on more so than just getting playoff correlation for my team, but making sure I get it for my quarterbacks because I don't know, the numbers I've been looking into, it's just so important. If you hit on a good quarterback wide receiver combo that's just in a monster offense, like Tua and Tyreek Hill, and then you hit on another one like Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin, 2 elite players in a monster offense, it's so powerful. It's like you have 2 outs each week. Our boy Jan Dotson, 1%. I can't believe I even have 1%. I don't remember ever drafting this guy. I bet you it's exactly 1%. Let's see. Like I can't think of a reason I ever. Maybe a auto draft Dotson. I've drafted him twice. Weird. Probably in a $4 and a $5. All right. Well, this is. I don't know if this is my preferred way to build, but this is how a lot of my teams are ending up recently. Slam receivers, hit a few good zero zombie RB targets, whatever you want to call them. Get 2 mid-range quarterbacks, like right in this range, from Dak to Goff or whatever. Get a tight end who's not awful. Maybe sometimes this is Njoku. Come around on Ingram if he falls past ADP a little bit. Fill out my whole running back room before Khalil Herbert's off the board because everyone after this is tough to imagine the ceiling case. I'm taking like Justice Hill. I have more of him on the other side's 20 rounds. The coach said they're going to treat him like an RB1. Yeah, Derrick Henry's there, but they're not going to give Derrick Henry even like I can't imagine Derrick Henry getting 70% of touches. And who else is on this team at running back? Keaton Mitchell. Doesn't sound like he might, like, even if he comes back at the end of the season, he's not going to be that guy. And so Justice Hill just feels like safe. But like Chris's argument against him is that we question the ceiling, which I'm not sure what the ceiling case is. Derrick Henry goes down and he gets 60% of the work. Steamay's fine. Cam Akers is disgusting. Madison, disgusting. But Madison's kind of less disgusting. I think he's going to score fantasy points every single game he's healthy. Just a matter of how many. Deontay Foreman, I think he's coming back. I'm still probably not going to draft him anymore right now because why would I do that? Dalvin Cook. In 20 round drafts, it sounds a lot better. I'm not sure I'm going to get there in 18 rounds. Cordero Patterson, pretty sure Chris drafted him on stream yesterday, so I guess he's draftable. There's a couple seasons ago, Cordell Patterson was kind of like Kyron Williams Jr., Kyron Williams light, last round guy that just randomly scored a bunch of touchdowns. Was it this season? I mean, 8 touchdowns from a 18th round pick. It's huge. Manuel Wilson, I don't hate. Oh, tweaked his groin. Shame. My 0% is going to remain 0%. And then Samaje Perine, if we were drafting Jerick McKinnon the past 2 seasons, this is the exact same role. We should be interested in this because he was fine. I will say the other part of the argument is that Denver determined that he wasn't better than any of their 3 running backs, the latter 2 of which are Jaleel McLaughlin and Audric Estime. Now I think Chris thinks that these guys are good at football. So it shouldn't be too like negative for Samaje Perine to get beat out by those guys. Just the point is, if he gets, like I said, if he gets half of the work that Jerick McKinnon got, he's fine as an 18th round pick. And then if something happens to Pacheco, could he become the workhorse? Probably not. But it is an opportunity for more work for him. There are multiple paths to him getting there. Generic Prince, hope you didn't get duped. I've got no one else down here. I like Michael Carter, like as a person, and it's so messed up because the coach is like, yeah, we saw what we needed to see out of him, and then they cut him the next day. Disrespect. Ooh, I have an interesting one here. I think I have to go 3 tight end here. I don't think there's a second tight end I'm comfortable just running here. And I could do it, but I think it's better to get 3. I don't need an 8th wide receiver on this team. I'm going to be up in 20 picks about. Who just got taken? I was going to take Jalen Tobert. He's gone, though. So Greg Dortch, we're passing up playoff correlation with another player I'm in on, Wandale. I'm on 4%. I don't mind clicking him. Never clicking Pearsall. Isaiah Likely would be a good shot here, but I kind of like Greg Dortch as my 6th wide receiver if I'm going to stop at 7. Because then I can just take one ceiling shot, and I don't think it's terrible if it's a 0. Oh, never mind. I know who my 7th receiver is. All right, we're good. I'm not going to reveal it just in case. It's Noah Brown, just in case someone in this draft is watching. But if someone in this draft is watching and snipes me on Noah Brown just because I said I'm taking him, so be it. Sam Darnold. Love pairing up Sam Darnold with Justin Jefferson. Now, is this a 2 QB group we're comfortable going into the season with, Joe Burrow and Sam Darnold? Probably not. I'd probably still add like a Bryce Young. If I had Kyler Murray or better, I'd probably be okay just running 2 quarterbacks there. Joe Burrow is kind of scary, though. I mean, you're drafting Joe Burrow, so you think that, draft like you're right, but still scary. Isaiah Likely is going to end up being a great value again, even if Mark Andrews doesn't get hurt. And it sounds like Mark Andrews is dealing with something, so I don't know why Isaiah Likely is not rising as much as Mark Andrews is falling. Let's see what's going on with Mark Andrews. We don't have details. He was involved in a car accident a couple weeks ago. Has he not practiced since that? That doesn't sound great. Because I said, if anything, it's just a minor injury. Why is he not playing? All right, I just want to hear the reason why he's not practicing. Uh, hmm. It just what part of his body is injured? A leg is a lot. It's a lot of a. It's more of a bigger deal than like a shoulder. It's a competitive disadvantage to get too deep into what your guys' injuries are. All right, so Harbaugh won't even tell the media other than there's no serious injuries. He's not even going to make any starting announcements before the Chiefs game on Thursday night. Hmm. All right, well, I haven't looked into this until literally right now, but it sounds like we're getting week one Isaiah Likely. So if you're going to get at least 1 week of fantasy points if you draft Isaiah Likely, maybe he'll get 3 touchdowns. It's kind of frustrating they're doing that. Yeah, I'm just going to keep slamming Likely. Mark Andrews has been falling in drafts. I'm not taking him at ADP almost ever now. Maybe when I pair him with Lamar, I don't mind it. Trying to get more Zay Flowers though, because that is a less common combo. I think it was like half as many Lamar Zay Flowers teams as there were Lamar Mark Andrews teams, which makes sense because Zay Flowers goes over here. 3 spots left, 2 tight ends, and a receiver. Hmm. If I wasn't taking Noah Brown, I might be tempted to take the shot on Ben Sinnott. I don't like him. I don't know. I don't like him. Zach Ertz is the stepping stone for young tight ends to emerge, though, when he's ahead of them on the depth chart to begin the season. So, I mean, what if Ben Sinnott is Trey McBride? What if? I think the thing that turned me off of Ben Sinnott was how many of his snaps were only blocking duties. Ben Sinnott routes. How many routes did he run? Okay, so the one highlight I saw was that pass blocking. Oh, I was going to take Jonnu Smith. It's disappointing. Oof, Jonnu Smith was like one of the last tight ends that feels okay in this range. So I'm going to take 2. Do I just do it? I'd rather take Noah Brown, honestly. Who has more ceiling, though? Hmm. I don't like any of this. The reason I chickened out on Kobe Parkinson at the last second, they have the week 17 correlation with Arizona, but Tyler Higbee should be healthy by then. And like if Kobe Parkinson's a home run, it's not going to matter Tyler Higbee coming back. But as it is now, I think we should draft him with the expectation that Higbee comes back, and it's a big bonus if Kobe Parkinson's good and gets these playoff weeks. Because we know, I don't know how loyal Sean McVay is. We know that he has his guys, and Higbee's pretty good. Because the other guy I'm drafting down here is Tucker Kraft. Any news on Higbee? Just pup list. We already knew that though. Brian was pretty into Greg Dulcich, and I'm having a tough time getting there. A lot of zeros last season. He scored 4 total fantasy points. It is a ceiling shot. If it works out, it's probably going to be pretty great. Hmm. So, one thing, if you watch these streams, one thing I mention a lot is if you're able to draft your quarterback's tight end, you almost always do it. You really almost should always just take your quarterback's tight end. Do I just take Benson out here? No, because I'm drafting 2 of my quarterbacks receivers, and he's already Jaden Daniels. We don't want to triple stack him, even if the 2 guys are cheap. So we did go Tucker Kraft. I think he's the best tight end on the Green Bay roster. Not really drafting Luke Musgrave too much. So hopefully we have Goddard, the mm, stable guy to kind of hold down my floor. Theo Johnson, the super ceiling shot, because he could, I mean, he might not even be better than Bellinger, and Bellinger's not great. And then Tucker Kraft, who he's going to see snaps, even if he's not the number one. They're going to run enough 2 tight end sets, and he's going to play enough. that I think he's fine. Cool, easy draft. Appreciate you guys for watching. If you made it to the end, and the off chance you're not signed up for Underdog Fantasy, which if you're watching the stream, it's kind of peculiar, but maybe if you just stumbled in here, use the promo code Occupy2, Occupy in the number two, and they'll match your deposit up to $1,000. Talk about it every day. It's the best deal in fantasy sports. Don't really need to say anything more than that. It's free $1,000 if you're gonna play these contests anyway. You can use them for pick'ems. You can use them for best ball. You can use them for. They dropped a battle royale actually for NFL for week one. They dropped like an early one. I think it only had allowed 200 entries, but they did this with college football a couple days ago, kind of just to set the initial ADP, which I think is a pretty good idea. I don't know if 200 entries, because that's not even 20 drafts. I don't know if that's enough to set ADP, but I guess it's enough to be more accurate than whatever their default rankings they were putting out before were. So that was a cool idea, but looking forward to the week one battle royales. I don't know if we'll end up streaming any of those before the season starts. If we did, I guess it might be that Saturday before, because it's not going to include the Thursday or Friday games. And then we're planning on drafting best ball every day until then, until Thursday, including Thursday, maybe. Excuse me. Actually, maybe not Thursday because we were working on showdown stuff on that day, but definitely up until Wednesday, we will be drafting best ball teams on this channel. If you win at best ball, you can splurge on the good stuff. Cam Akers, Chig. I'm not drafting Chig anymore. Yeah, Kobe Parkinson might be okay. I don't know. I'm not drafting Tyrone Tracy. Not really drafting Gray either. I'll have to ask Chris next time I'm on with him if he's still drafting Gray. Well, again, I guess I got a couple. I got one more game of week 17. It's like Michael Pittman with Theo Johnson. The chances of this being any worth anything at all is so low, but imagine it is. Michael Pittman goes for two tutties and 150 yards on 12 catches because Anthony Richardson was just slanging it that day against this Giants defense, and then Theo Johnson on the other end catches 7 balls from Drew Lock. Daniel Jones won't be starting by then because of that injury guarantee in his contract. They're going to bench him by like week 12 unless he's awesome. Which, if I know Daniel Jones, he won't be. Yeah, he sure won't. He could be a value though. If he does what he did 2 seasons ago, then yeah, he's a super smashes at his ADP. Especially something about Malik Neighbors is number one. They unretired it for him, so I moved him back up in my rankings from where I had him yesterday. Oof. Winding down here, I'm starting to lose my mind in these drafts. I hate it so much. It's affecting my sleep schedule. We're gonna miss it so much when it's gone, though. So enjoy it while it's here. It will be over soon, and then after week one, we'll get the best ball resurrection, and we'll be right back here overreacting. Last year it dropped. We were taking Keenan Allen at like pick 11. Couple other like Adam Thielen was maybe in the 50s or something. Like we were super overreacting after a couple weeks of last season, but that's what's gonna happen. Noah Brown. Actually didn't know he was 28. Thought he was a little bit younger. He did have a shoulder injury in the offseason. Commanders expect him to be available week one. All right, career season. Noah Brown incoming. Let's do it. So we got the disgusting double stack with Washington. It's not going to show here because they didn't update their roster yet, but Noah Brown is on the Commanders. He should be their wide receiver too. Got a neat little double stack with Tua with Jalen Wright on the bench, Tyreek Hill. Beautiful. It's funny because we draft Jalen Wright in front of these guys most of the time. Like most of the time you run this season, these two are going to outscore Jalen Wright, but it's just that season that Jalen Wright outscores those two. Ooh, it's going to be pretty fun. Devontae, don't love Olave, don't love Pittman, love Terry, love Greg Dortch, love Brown. It's a pretty good team. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back tomorrow. Pretty sure Moose will be on. We'll see who the co-host is, but join us back. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're gonna have a giveaway for the first 500 subscribers, so stay tuned and get the details on that. We'll see you guys later. Thank you.